All right, good morning. It's Monday morning, 8:15. Get started for the morning, and we've got projects to get ready for this today. So we're getting a new project on the road. We've got a new change-out project that is going on. We've got some service and maintenance work to do, I'm sure. I haven't looked at the schedule yet, but I just got in here. So first things first, we've got this package unit right here that let's see if I can get my camera to work right. Got this package unit right here. We're going to be putting a filter. We're fitting up a filter for it. This actually goes to another project right here, but we're putting a 4-inch filter right here in. Putting a 4-inch filter inside of here, and then we put that filter door, and then we're able to change that filter on a every 6 months or so. So anyways, that's one thing that's got to be done right away this morning, so that we can get that going for the project that we are working on. So anyways, yep, we'll see what happens. And tomorrow I go to Nashville, so I've got to wrap my day up. I got to go to a sales appointment this morning. Once I get everybody on the road, then I've got to go to a new sales appointment. Then I got to go close a sales proposal that we had out last week. And then I've got to go help Dustin finish up on a project, the package unit project that we've been working on for a while now, about a month. This is kind of a big job, but anyways, we're going to be finishing that up today, hopefully. Yeah, so just dropped off a breaker to Zach here. He's working. Gotta get my camera to do what I want it to do. Turn off the follow mode. There we go. There he is, working right over there. Working on a unit we had just installed here the other day. And so he needed a breaker. For some reason the breaker failed on the outdoor unit. So he's getting that replaced this morning, today, and making sure everything is good to go. So that was an insurance job that we did there. So I think maybe it was lightning damage or something like that, and that's probably what's going on. So he's replacing that breaker this morning. In other news, Jonathan and I can't remember his partner in crime. For some reason, name slipped my mind. Scott. Jonathan and Scott are on site at the package unit change-out project. The dumpster has already been delivered. I've gotten a picture of that from the dumpster company, so that's great. So we're making progress, and I am headed to my sales appointment this morning. So things are busy. It's kind of a gray, cloudy day, not very nice and sunshiny, but hey, it's a beautiful day. Okay, so I'm here in the attic looking at the setup here. So we've got several different issues that I'm dealing with on this project. One, we're looking at ventilation, looking at how we could bring ventilation from there through that vent right there, out that vent right there. So ventilation for this attic area. Second, they have an issue with not getting enough air to this area right there, up in there. Not getting enough air up in there, and I think we can come up with a solution for that. And they've got hot air dumping down from the attic through this fan right here. So this fan needs to be removed and capped off, potentially, to make that from being a problem. So the only other thing that could be done here, I'm just looking now, is you could probably take that belt off that motor, so if the motor is turned on, and you could unwire it, and then you could pull that cover and cap that. But they would like to make this an access. So if you make this an access point, then you're going to have to come up with a way to remove it completely. So yep, that's all the things I'm looking at. We want to look at extending that vent right there. I think we could probably take it to a sidewall. And let's see, what else? I think those are all the main issues that we're addressing here today. So let me get busy and take some pictures and measure. Okay, so I just finished up on my sales appointment. I was there to look at ventilation issues and so populated, and she moved with us. So it's interesting to see that process happen. And she's been a client of ours for like 5 or 6 years, I think. So I think the whole relationship started when she needed a motor replaced, and the other company wasn't getting it done for her in the summer, and we took care of it and just made sure we got her on service maintenance plan, and she has been on the maintenance plan ever since, with both her other house and her new house that she's moved into, or different house that she's moved into. So it's really neat to see that all come together. So headed to my next appointment now, sales appointment. Hopefully that will go well. See you there. Also just spoke with Dustin, and he has gotten the filter box built for the package unit. So we're going to be installing that this afternoon and wrapping up those details. I told him as soon as I get done with my sales appointment, I'm going to be meeting him down there. So hopefully I'll be able to show you how that goes in and what's involved in that process. Alright, so just a little update. I just stopped at my last sales appointment and confirmed everything with the customer client. This particular client is using Green Sky financing. They are getting an 8.99% rate, so they'll pay that off over the next, I think that rate is around 84 months or 96 months. I'd have to look for sure. And they're getting a new 14-seer Run True package unit, 2.5 ton. And so we finalized the details on the project, reviewed everything that was included. This is a change out project. I went ahead and did my spec out because I was there on the second visit and it was easy to do. I took the video, took the photos, put the sign in the yard. These are all very important things to do when you're getting ready to start a project, and got a tentative date of like the 13th or the 14th that we're going to be completing the project, and made sure she was good with all of that. So it's just a matter of moving forward and getting it actually completed. So I've messaged Kylie now the process begins of getting everything set up. So now we set up the project card, we ordered the equipment, stage materials, and get ready to brief the installers on the project itself. All of our pictures and video go into company cam, so they'll be able to see all of that easily. We already had a project set up for her from when I went on the first sales visit, so now I just got to assign the installers to it, and then they'll be able to see that project and be ready when they get to the project, boots on the ground, ready to go. Everything's pretty much straightforward. So, got that set up. Jonathan just gave me a call, gave me an update on his tear out that he's doing this morning, and they've got a lot of the ductwork out. They're still working on it, but they are making progress. So I'm gonna see if I can get him to get a little bit of footage on that and send that to me, so that we can see what they're doing and how things are going for them. So good stuff. It's all coming together slowly but surely. So I'm headed now to the package unit project to help complete that system there. Hopefully everything goes well on that project. So this is a little trip down memory lane. My dad used to be a farmer right over in here. All this land over here. We can see all that through my dirty windshield. I remember being there. Okay, so what I'm working on here in this house right now is I'm working on figuring out where this vent right here is at. So there used to be a vent in here. I've got a picture to go by right here. I've got that picture to go by. I can just barely see the vent right there. So what I have to do is stand back here. They covered it up when they remodeled. So I'm having to look and see where this vent is and make some guesses. And I hope I'm not wrong. But one thing I've done is I've drilled a hole using this bit right here. I drilled a hole right up in there, and I've shoved it all the way in, and I can feel metal up in there. So I know I'm inside the duct because the duct comes up the wall. So anyways, we're gonna see here what happens. So we're gonna drill some bigger holes. I turned the air on as well to see if I can fill any air. I don't know if we'll fill any air yet or not. It's got me a little nervous. That's definitely the duct. Makes me wonder if they hooked it up or not yet. Anyways, but we're inside the duct, so that's good. So we're going to keep moving. Wish there was a way we could figure out exactly where we are, for sure. How far this way I can come. But there's not a good way to do that. I don't know how much further we can come this way, so I might have to go cut that out and see. Yeah, I might have to. I'm not sure how far this way I can come before I'm in there, but this is going to end up being just a little vent in this bathroom right here. Don't know how well that's going to work. Anyways, I'm going to see what we can do. No greater deed can ever be done here in the sun. Yep, that's exactly what they did. Yipper, skipper. Shoved a whole bunch of tiles up in there. Hey, we got air. Ha ha. Yes, 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 yes. Spot on. Spot on, spot on, spot on. Man, that was a risky one. All right, now we can reach our tape in there and measure. Man, that's a great feeling of accomplishment. We are 4 inches from the side. So that one, 7.5, 7.5. So now we just need to go this right here. Go up. Let's just go like that right there. And I can uh-oh. No. Didn't like something. Oops. I got a little feisty. Dial back a little bit. Almost got it cut out all the way. I was hoping to finish that. Alright, we got the whole cut just about complete. But man, that's a great feeling. I did not know how that was going to come out. Very worried that I would end up with this hole in the side of this wall and it would not be where it was supposed to be. And that would have not been fun at all. But anyways, all's good that ends well. Alright, so I'm here at the Residio table this morning and I'm looking at a couple different really interesting products we've got here. This is the actual water valve right there that turns off when it gets a signal from this sensor right here. And then this cord, actually, you can put up to 500 feet of cord right here onto this, or like here, and this will tell you, this will sense any water that's present and then communicate not only alerts to your phone, but it will communicate alerts back to this and tell this to turn off. So really cool product. And then we've also got this AirCycle Pro monitor powered by Air Advice. They recommend that you take and put it in the home when the technician's actually present at the home, and then he can make recommendations to the homeowner accordingly. So good stuff. Another interesting thing I just learned was that Residio, which is what I was just looking at, is actually used to be Honeywell. So Honeywell split off a couple years ago and said, hey, we're going to let you be your own company. So that's where Residio has come from, and Honeywell is essentially not doing any of the small residential stuff anymore. They're more focused on industrial items, and so everything that you see Resideo is used to be Honeywell. It's the new Honeywell, if you will. So thermostats, anything that you see that's Resideo is now used to be Honeywell. So another thing, Resideo is I think owned by the same company as ADT. There's another one, another security company. So it's into a lot of different fields. So it'll be interesting to see if these products will be something that we could actually sell or not, or offer and sell. So interesting stuff. Okay, so it's Wednesday, 2 o'clock approximately, and I am just sitting down for a few minutes to do a little bit of work here. Need to work on some of my sales projects. I'm getting set up to do a little bit of work. I'm in this little booth thing here, charging my cell phone, and I've got a couple calls I need to make for new customers or prospects that have phoned into the office that are wanting to talk about a few things. So just came out of a class about KPIs, so I talked about that. We've got another class that's starting at 2:15, so I'm going to try to get some calls made and get some of that stuff done here in the next few minutes. So guys are working hard back home. Haven't talked to Dustin today at all, but looking over some of the pictures of work that have been going on today, and so looking at some of the pictures here, it looks like Cliff is doing some work, getting some measurements. Looks like Zach's doing some maintenance on some package unit here. Looks like Cliff did the spec out for the job yesterday, and then Dustin is working on this project right here. He's setting condensers. Haven't heard anything from him today. And Jonathan is working on this project right here. He's working on installing ductwork on that project right there. So everything seems to be moving forward as it needs to, and we're just making progress. So finding out all the things that I'm doing wrong. So let's get these calls made and get back to our next meeting there. So what you're looking at maybe is, if I understand correctly, would, like, if this was something that was solved in the next, is a week too long for you? Or are you looking for 2 days, or? Okay, yeah, I'm with you. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. I'm with you. Okay. Well, I'm not saying it wouldn't be something we can do this week. It's just we do have other projects that we have scheduled. So but what I would like to do is, do you have any pictures that you could send me at all of any of that? Would that be possible, or would it be better for me just to have one of my people come by and just take pictures? Well, that's the one thing that would be nice, so that's why I'm wondering if it might be $850. Okay. Alright. Alrighty. Got it. Okay. Alright. Let me just I want a quick look and see what my schedule's booked right now, or else I would just come by myself and just have a quick look at it. But I can send, it's a simple enough project that I can send one of my technicians by. Probably Zach could come by there. Alright, today's Wednesday. This is Thursday. I'm just looking here to see what his availability would be to come by. I think it would work well for him to come by tomorrow, mid-morning. If are you available then? Okay.
Either one fine by me.
Yeah, let's go. Hello.
Yeah, so we were probably, I don't know where we were in 2014, 5 million maybe. Lemon Seed came about when I was able to, Trey told me if I could get it right, if I could hire my replacement on the team. So that's exactly what happened. I found the next community marketer. And that's a good conversation. I'd love to visit with anybody that's curious about when is it time to hire an in-house marketer versus using a marketing agency. So Lemon Seed doesn't do websites, okay? So we'll talk about all those things here in a minute, but I'd love to visit about the specifics of how we function. But I'm gonna tell you the 4 tips that we use to organize your marketing, or how we're gonna clean up our mess. And so we're gonna use mess as an acronym. So number 1, the first thing that we always have to do before we go really wild with our marketing is we really need to know how we're gonna measure and track. How are we actually going to know what is working? So many of us, me included, you will think, oh, I know what's working. What's working is X. My website is what works. It's killing it. We're doing this postcard that I mail out, this magazine that I do, this billboard campaign, all these things. And then really, when you really put actual tracking to it, measurability to it, that isn't what works. Or it might be generating calls but low revenue. And so what I really encourage you to always do is have a way to measure and track things. So gut feelings are not where it's at. That's why East Texas coming out. That's not where it's at. We can't do everything by gut feeling, right? There needs to be data in your decisions, okay? So I learned that from, I work with tons of digital agencies, and several of those agencies that I work with use these really overwhelming data build outs to show you where you need to spend money to rank in SEO. So
my friend, and it's a tremendous role, tremendous responsibility. Gary's been with them for like 25 years, and I will tell you that over that time, he has been a thought leader, a driver of some of the most innovative products, programs, and solutions for the contractors in the market. It's really, really impressive what he has done. His resume is in there. What I will tell you is it's really one of the honors of my life to get to introduce him to our Service Nation family. It's an honor for me to call him my friend and for him to speak to you guys. So I'm gonna ask you guys to do me a favor. I'm gonna bring Gary up, but I want you guys to get on your feet and give him the greatest welcome that our Service Nation family can do it. So will you please get on your feet and welcome my friend, Gary Bedard.
Thank you and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Pete, for that gracious introduction. He's one of the best salesmen I know. He said, we've got 300 contractors that are coming, but these are the most important employees at the contracting business, and I'll get into that later, the people that drive it. And he said, when you consider that, they've each got about 20 or 30 employees, it's really like speaking in front of 100,000 people. I said, oh, okay, sure. So we'll do it. But actually, he's not wrong. And I congratulate all of you for being here, because how you look at the changes, how you look at the things that you're learning while you're here, how you network with others and bring that back, you are the most important employee in the contracting firm that you work for. And that is really something to keep in mind. I was telling Pete, how many of you have driven an electric car? Not many. I drove one for the first time like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And it's the weirdest thing, because when you hit the accelerator and then you take your foot off, it like stops. And it takes a while to get used to that. And I started thinking about it. It's a great analogy for contracting firms. Because if you're not pushing the accelerator, you stop. You don't coast, you stop. And the person who pushes the accelerator is you. And so how we talk about changes in the industry and how we internalize it and how we move forward is very, very important. So with that, let me talk a little bit about what I'm going to talk about today. First, I'm going to go over 2022, try to put some numbers in perspective for you. And then
All right, what a jam-packed day. So it started early this morning and had quite a few things to handle because Jonathan was working on his project, so he had some questions for me. So I talked with him, got that done. Just talked to Dustin, just finally messaged me back later this afternoon, said he was headed back from his project that was out of town, so that everything hopefully went well there. He forgot to get his picture, so I'm not sure how it all turned out, but had a sales appointment that I had to talk to this afternoon, so I got that handled and working on getting that set up for an evening appointment for one of our salespeople. So, yep, wrapping up the day, fixing to go out to dinner with the family, and looking forward to another new day tomorrow. Over and out.
So he's got a leak. You can barely see it. It's at the underside of that 3/8 line. I don't know if you see it bubbling or not. Yep, right there. He's having problems with the pan filling of water. Yep, right there. I could probably repair that. This is from 07. He really needs a new unit. So what's probably happening is it's low on refrigerant and freezing up. It's not in the pan. You know, it's right there. Freezes up, falls straight down.
Alright, I'm working on a maintenance on a train package unit, and I found a bad dual run capacitor. So got the new one in there, nice and tight, and ain't going nowhere. And I'll get this customer on their way.
Hey, good morning. So it's Thursday morning, about 9:30. And I just got here to the hotel where the conference is being held. Had an interesting little interview conversation with my Lyft driver this morning. I always like to interview Lyft drivers, find out why they're doing it, do they make money, you know, what's their motivator behind doing it, how did they get into it. Anyways, this guy, first one I've come across, he not only is a Lyft driver, he also owns a fleet of vehicles that he rents to other Lyft and Uber drivers. He says that people will actually fly into Nashville from like Memphis, rent a car from him, and drive for Lyft for the weekend because the money is so good, instead of using their own car. So anyways, this is just interesting. If you use Lyft or Uber, interview your drivers. I've had some fascinating conversations in about 5 or 10 minutes with them. So anyways, we're here this morning. We're going to look at some partner tables. You can see, got some stuff set out. It's Field Edge, Profit Rhino. Today I want to focus on talking to HD Supply. So they're right over there, it looks like. So I'm going to go over here and see this lady, hopefully, and see what's going on. And there was a general conference that starts at 9:30 that's probably already going. So I'm going to step in and listen to that here for a bit. See you around.
Daughter, Tucker's got 3 dogs, or 2 dogs, 3 dogs. Yeah, and so, yeah, but he's still alive somehow. Oh, we have Monday night dinners, and so my mom and dad watch the kids on Monday nights, and or on Mondays, and we all go over there and have dinner together. And a lot of times it turns into like business sessions. We've talked about the day, we're talking about business. Sessions over into just general life stuff, and so it's all kind of intertwined. So there's not really a like, hey, don't talk about business at dinner, just because everything is just all encompassing. And so that was modeled for us at a young age. Mom and dad demonstrated what that looks like at a healthy level.
And if you take talking business out of our repertoire, I think we run out of things to talk about pretty quickly.
I doubt that.
So we can leave a pretty good expose on just the early establishment of the history of Rome. You know,
We had to put a no talk zone. So when we first bought our lake house, like we can't talk business while we're at the lake house. But they were like, okay, we want to stay over for Monday morning, so we'll only talk about business on Monday mornings when we stay over from the weekend. So next, did you have some?
I was gonna say again too, that is whenever obviously in business there's a lot of hard things, but there's a lot of fun things about it too. And I think that the journey of being able to come up and bring some of these hooligans is one of the biggest blessings that I have in my life. And so like, yeah, family dinners, Thanksgiving, Christmas, when we're just hanging out, like we talk business because we make it fun.
But and it's one of those things too, where it's we're incredibly blessed to find wives who don't mind to listen to us ramble on about business ideas, thoughts, different ideas, and also who are just delusional enough to believe any harebrained idea that we might want to chase down that day. And so it's I think it boils back to it's an Aristotle quote. It's kind of an Aristotelian mindset, which is how you do anything is how you do everything. Therefore, success ought to be a habit, not an addict. And so I think that level of success carrying across in business and family, those things percolate. And what's into that, I'm picking on Luke. He's sitting here front row. He's a great candidate for it because he talked about a lot of this stuff in his breakout yesterday, which is how our team is treated at work impacts how they get their mindset is at home, which impacts their family life, which then impacts how they work, which then impacts how they can vacation. And so it's truly how we do
We got
it.
in trouble as a unit, and so I remember Dad a lot of times would get up and I don't care who started it, you're all gonna get in trouble. So it became a self-policed state very quickly. So that's how that kind of works. But I think landing in those roles, to your first question, and I'll kind of touch on your second one, but landing in those roles, Colby's such a natural salesman. I mean, anyway, he's a come alongside you kind of guy. Let's walk through this together. Tucker is very much a, hey, guys, follow me. Sort of that's his leadership style. He's great at it. He's great at drawing in a crowd. And I kind of operate more of a shepherd role. And so this is a weird analogy, but I think it fits for this purpose. We go snowboarding a lot of times, and the way we snowboard together is we're all on a line, and Tucker's up front, Colby's in the middle, and I'm in the back, because I kind of want to be able to see where they're going. So that is a quick snapshot of kind of our leadership styles, and whenever we come and try to hold each other accountable for that, I mean, we've always led with honesty and open conversations. And so if there's something that I'm doing wrong, or maybe not even wrong, but like an adjustment that needs to be made, and that conversation is pretty easy to have, because we don't get our feelings hurt.
It's not a character.
It's not a character flaw. It's like, hey, there's this thing that we need to address. Let's address it. And it's like, oh, I didn't realize I was doing that. And so, so it's a pretty simple conversation to have. But I think a lot of that comes back to the way we were raised, and so the way our parents kind of led that kind of stuff. And so, now I'm blanking on your third
Decision.
How are decisions made?
Yeah. So one of the things that Dad talks about a ton is his risk tolerance was $4.5 million. And so our risk tolerance, his ceiling is our floor. And so we were always coached, like, and taught that any decision that we make, it's a safe place to make mistakes. It's a safe place to try. It's a safe place to operate within the business and operate outside of the business as well. And so whenever it comes to decision making, it kind of goes back to leaving ego at the door, that having following the right plan is better than being the one that came up with it. I'll come up with ideas.
Always the creative.
I am the creative, and I will come up with ideas.
We're getting ready to shoot a commercial. We're going Steven Spielberg.
Yes. I have grandiose plans. I'm a thinker in that way, but also trusting my brothers to level me, and so trust within our family has been built up and coached and taught, and so I trust that my brothers have my back, and I trust if I have a stupid idea, they're going to tell me that my idea.
If you haven't seen their social media, I highly recommend you checking it out.
And like not to say like that's hard.
It's also it's built off of operating with a high degree of autonomy to begin with.
Yeah.
So disseminated leadership is a huge deal, not just with our family unit and the ownership team, we operate with our dad, but with our managers, disseminating, that leadership down to the front line, down to the lowest level, where they can make the best decision for the opportunity because they're the one dealing with the problem. They're the one dealing with the situation. And in the same way, as far as
Okay. Very good.
Depend on the job,
Right. Okay.
But I like this job,
So what did you do before you're driving now?
I used to do mechanic.
Oh, you were a mechanic.
Yeah.
Okay. So did you just stop that because it was something you didn't like doing, or what? What made you decide to?
It was a heavy job for me,
Yeah.
So this easy job.
Yeah. Not as physically involving.
No, I like customer. It's good, to meet a lot of customer, to talk, to
Right.
have a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Very interesting. So do you live right here in the Nashville area?
Yeah, I live in Nashville. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Awesome. So what's your timetable? Like, how many hours a day do you drive? When do you start? When do you stop?
Oh, it depended. Like, sometime I start at 8 o'clock to 5, sometime 12 to 8. Depend on my time.
Okay.
Yes.
That's
If
interesting.
I have appointment, I go my appointment,
Right. So you get flexibility.
Flexibility job.
Yeah.
I like to do this job.
That's good.
Uber and Lyft's good people, they take care of us.
Yep.
So that's good.
Have you always lived here in Nashville?
No, I used to live in Connecticut.
Connecticut. Oh, okay. That's a little bit different of an area, isn't it?
Take a sharp left.
That's neat.
Avenue South.
Very cool.
Where you come from?
I come from Georgia.
Georgia.
Yeah, near Augusta, Georgia.
Oh,
You familiar with that area?
not really.
Do you follow the Masters at all?
No.
Okay, so there's a big golf tournament going on in Augusta this week right now. A lot of people know about that, so sure. Okay. Cool.
In 500
Yeah, I just was here for a meeting, and now
will be on the left.
I'm fixing to leave and go back home now. So it's been nice to be here though. Yeah. So that was interesting, visiting with my Lyft driver again. I like to visit with those guys and find out a little bit about what they're up to and what they're doing, why they're doing what they are. This guy was a mechanic, so it was really interesting. But just got down to my conference, so a couple big key takeaways for me were simply that one of the gentlemen that's in my AV group that I had lunch with that one day, he said, you know what, negotiate everything. So right before I left, I was talking to one of the representatives at Field Edge that supply our dispatch software, and they're fixing to go up on our pricing. And he said, hey, just tell them you're not going to use them, or they got to lower the price, or you're not going to use them. You're going to switch. And so I'm going to try that. And another big one is you can go to all the conferences you want to, but if you don't go back home and implement and get to work, they don't do you any good. So as one guy mentioned that he says he sees a lot of people at these conferences. He says sometimes he goes to all the conferences because he's one of the speakers and vendors that present a lot of the time, and he says he sees these contractors at every single conference, and he says, when do they finally actually go home and implement and do the work? He said, you can come here, you can learn all you want, try to learn all you want, but he says if you don't go home and actually make this stuff happen, it doesn't do you any good. So you got to keep that in mind. So excited about going back home. Try to always have me an action list. I've got an action list of things I'm going to be working on and getting done. So anyways, now it's travel time. All right, good morning. It is 11:30 on Friday, and I am in my home office today. I'm getting ready to jump on a call with Kylie here this morning to review admin projects. Today I'm working at home on some items, so waiting for supposed to be getting some rain coming in. I've got some guests coming this weekend. I want to get that done. But anyways, fixing to jump on this call, so we'll see how that all goes. Okay, so I got all my work done that I needed to this morning. It's fixing to dump. It looks like outside right now, but it hasn't started raining already. It's getting quite windy, as you can see. Yeah, we got some rain coming. So it would stay just warm enough for just long enough that it flushed out a bunch of no cooling calls. And so Brian and Zach have been fairly busy today with those, and they're wrapping up their day. Had a couple people that have been able to figure out some of their simple issues. Like a customer had a breaker that tripped. So they were able to figure that out and reset that breaker, and now they're good to go. Others, though, are having issues like condensate problems, water leaking, and things like that. So it's that time of year. Condensates are a problem, and so forth. So just looking over around the warehouse, I don't like a messy warehouse. Not saying this one is, but it's not quite as tidy as I'd like it. But you know what this is a sign of? Progress, and you're probably making money. So, and you've got people that need new equipment. So we've got this job right here has come in. It's a furnace, coil, condenser for a modular home system. We've got a package unit that just came in for a standard brick home that uses a package unit. We've got a package unit sitting right here fixing to go out for another project. So all these projects are coming due next week, and we're going to be getting them set up and organized, get everything organized and get it ready to roll. So Jonathan, met with him this afternoon. Everything's going good on his project. Dustin's working on finishing up a mini split at the commercial school project. So probably won't get out there today to see how that's all going for sure. But we're winding the week. The week is winding down, and it's good to be back in the office again and just get an idea of what's happening and what's going on. Always a little bit of craziness to deal with when you get back. But we're settling into the rhythm of the pre-summer routine, if you will. So we're getting there. So just bear with us. If you're one of our customers or clients, just bear with us. We'll get you taken care of. And the main things are that we want to always take care of our maintenance customers and maintenance clients when they have trouble. If they do, we don't have many of them that do, but every now and then one of them will have an issue. And then we try to take care of long-term customers, people who call us when they have a problem. Maybe they're not on maintenance. We haven't been able to convert them yet, so we like to take care of them next. Any referrals we get, and then finally any new customers that come in. So we do kind of follow priority, but we do always try to let people know, good expectation of what's going on and what to expect when we take their call and how quick we can follow up on it. So far today, we have been able to take care of all of our calls that have come in today. It's not always possible. Sometimes we're only able to take care of the first calls through about lunchtime, and anything after that will have to be scheduled to either the next day if the technicians are available, or the next business day. So this is why it's important. I can't emphasize this enough. This is why it's so important, not just with our company, but any air conditioning company. Have a relationship with them. Have a maintenance agreement with them, because when you need them, you need them. You don't need them, you don't need them. But when you need them, you need them. And you want to be able to call and get service. If you're calling for the first time to a company that you've never used before, they don't know who you are, it's not a guarantee that you're going to get an appointment as quickly as what you would like. It's just that way. It's, life is all about relationships, right? So you got to have that relationship set up. Be sure to do that. Anyways, our ultimate goal when we come to your home is to convert you to maintenance so that you don't have issues long term, that your system is taken care of. It's well maintained, and you're not going to have problems. So you're not going to have water leaking, just like the one that called this morning that had water leaking in his office. He's not on a maintenance program, and the system is only 3 or 4 years old, and it's already having some issues. So this is why it's so important. Even if you've got a system that's brand new, get it on a maintenance program immediately. Not only will you take better care of the system, but you'll have a great relationship with that company when you need them, either for that unit or if you own multiple properties for other systems that you have issues with. So it's very important to establish that relationship and keep that in mind. So Friday is not over, but over and out. All right, so it's Saturday afternoon, around 2 o'clock, and I am in the warehouse just wandering around here. We're doing finishing up our filming. A couple things I wanted to go over, though, today of things that I like to have done every week. I like to have this area of this table right here cleaned off and organized neatly. I like the desk to be organized neatly. I like the motor shelf to be organized neatly. No motors left on it if possible. In this case, we have one that needs to be changed still. I like this to be cleaned off. I like this to be cleaned off. I like the trash to be taken out, which Rio will be doing a little bit later. I like to see the sheet metal area all cleaned up and tidy. This is clear. That's good. Nothing on the sheet metal bench. Just things picked up and all the equipment organized. And at the moment, no fault of anyone's really. It's just not actually that way. So that's okay. We've been busy and we've got a lot of equipment that needs to go out the door. But these are things that I like to see, because a clean environment is a safe environment. The ultimate is to design and organize your spaces that you're working out of so that they don't have to be tidied up. And if they do need to be, it only takes a few minutes. So like this right here, this stays nice and tidy pretty much all the time. We don't work out of it a terribly lot, but we do use stuff off of here on a weekly basis or daily basis. So that space has been working very well for us. I've been very pleased with that. One thing that I just added here on the motor shelf that I hope really people take advantage of and use is we've added all these terminals right here that can be used easily. Some of them we don't use very often. Get out of here, you fan motor. See, this is why you don't leave stuff. That's why you don't leave stuff sitting right here. See, because I was sitting there, I couldn't get to all this wire right here. So we've got all this wire, we've got all our pullers, all that stuff. And we want to keep it all organized and neat. Looks good. We've got our wires for testing motors. We're going to need to redo this right here because I want to do a more flexible wire into that breaker right there. What we do here is this is a control out of an old train unit, and we're able to use these 24 volt plugs right here and the 220 to power up a motor like this right here. We're able to plug those into right there, and then we can take and come over here to the 24 volt right here, this is 24 volts, and we can short these pins out and make them run the motor through the control board that's mounted inside of here. Because it's these motors that we need to test like that, a lot of the time are variable speed motors. So anyways, yeah, just kind of walking around the shop, musing about things that need to be done. One of my big projects that I have coming up, this blasted toolbox right here, it is about so messy. Just look at it. Just full of junk. And, I mean, not junk, but it's just not organized. You know? I've got this really, you know, just like, we got umpteen dozen hammers, you know? Nobody really knows they're there. We've got a whole bunch of extra tools right here that we draw from. My ultimate goal is to get a nice workbench that is from, been eyeing one at Harbor Freight. I want to get me a nice workbench and put it in there and make it so that we have tools all organized neatly. Get some Kaizen foam. I guess we'll see how quick that happens. But that's the goal. So I guess we'll see where in the future video where we're at in a couple months. Have a great rest of your day. All right, guys, so it's a wrap. Been to Nashville this week. Got some work done Monday and Friday. Spent Tuesday through Thursday in Nashville. Got a lot of great information. Looking forward to implementing it. But that's it for this week's video. Thank you so much for watching. Click here to watch last week's video and click here to subscribe to our channel. Thank you.